We're going to flip this fucking house. Welcome back to DohMance Dawn, your number one house flipping podcast. I'm Luke. He, him, sometimes they, them. And I'm joined by...
Hello, my name is Janine Juliet. My pronouns are she, they, and this could become a podcast about flipping houses. And this could be a podcast about flipping houses.
Yeah. So, back in episode 10 of the podcast, you made a joke that in 2 years, this could become a podcast about flipping houses. And guess what, Janine?
Oh no, are we gonna flip a house?
No, that was all the bit that I had.
Oh, thank
That's
goodness.
very house. Yeah. No, I don't have money for that.
I've been preparing for it. I know you'll never ask, and no one will ever ask me to do something like that. But like I've seen a lot of HGTV. Most of the time, not
Hi.
by my own will. Sometimes yes, hi.
Oh yeah, like the main place that I've seen it is hospitals and like waiting rooms.
Yes, and hotels. Sometimes,
you choose to put it on in a hotel?
Well, that's the thing. Like, they have like only 12 channels, and like the fact that there's gonna be something good on one of them is like gonna be very slim. So you could end up literally on any of those 12 channels just by the nature of everything else sucking so bad. Especially because everything is like now like
streaming.
Kind of a wasteland. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Yes. Welcome back to DohMance Dawn. We're not actually doing a house home flipping show. This is the show where we talk about Simpsons and One Piece and pretend that the world isn't kind of on fire, like I didn't get COVID on the way back from Pokemon Go Fest. Folks, this is me just shouting out to say, if you are feeling sick, take a COVID test before getting on your flight. And if you absolutely must go for whatever reason, get a good mask, not one of those like cheap paper ones that you get in a like 100 count box. And don't take it off. Don't fucking cough on the person sitting next to you who's wearing a very good mask. And if you are feeling sick, just give them a warning. Hey, I haven't been feeling great the past few days. You might want to fully rinse your body as soon as you get off the fucking plane. Take a bath in a bunch of hand sanitizer.
And I'm Janine.
58 episodes. Yeah, I have been pretty much confined to either my room or the office for the past several days, and
I'm actually very impressed that this is your first go round having COVID.
I keep masking. Abby keeps masking. Abby works in a place where the most likely COVID spreaders are hanging out, and she goes in with a fucking mask every day and eats lunch alone, and yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that this is your reminder, world. There's still a pandemic going on.
Yeah,
you can't really claim victory over it because it's still affecting people's lives and complicating things right now.
And like, I am very healthy. Like I have no long-term symptoms. I walked 7 fucking miles yesterday making sure to avoid people as much as possible in like 90-degree weather, and Yeah. Uh, like, I lucked out, but I know there's a lot of folks who've gotten major long-term COVID symptoms, and just masking helps everybody. And yeah, it's good. Anyways, this week we are going to be covering episodes of One Piece because there are no Simpsons episodes during this period that initially ran between June 1st and July 13th of the year 2008. I had graduated by this point and was burning through my graduation money with a stupid amount of speed, playing Magic the Gathering, a hobby that I would give up 3 months into college.
I love how you just know, like, very soon into it, like into college, you just knew that these cards were not for you.
Oh, no, I would have stuck with it had it not been I didn't have a regular source of income, which I wouldn't get for another like year and a half. And the fact that one of my roommates was in his 6th or 7th year in a 3-year art program,
Huh.
uh, who was the leader of the kind of the worst Magic the Gathering community.
Ugh.
Like, there's good ones, there's like chill ones, and then there's the, oh, you've got absolutely disgusting pics for your deck protector cover art. What why do you need anime titty girls on there?
Hmm.
I'm very judgmental about a few things, and it seems to be public health concerns and just gross nerds. Please, if you are going to be going into a public area and you've got a t-shirt that talks about how much you would love to have sex with Velma, don't don't wear it, or wear another shirt over that, or like don't go to the convention because you're bringing negative views to the entire community. This has been another public health segment. I'm Luke.
Don't wear that shit, dog.
All right. So the episodes we're covering this week are episodes 356 through 362 of One Piece. These include Usopp the Strongest, leave the negatives to me.
Sudden death of the general zombies, or in an adventurous mood.
Sanji the Knight of Flames, kick down the false ceremony.
Perverted connection. Sanji's stolen dream.
Save me, hero. The enemy is the invisible princess. Oh, the enemy is the invincible princess.
Perona's terror. The and Uso is the and Usopp.
Slash is dancing on the roof. Finale Zora vs. Ryuma. Is the U and the Uso brothers the U and Usopp?
Is Usopp Usi?
No. He's the secret other Uso brother. It makes sense when you get to SummerSlam, Janine.
Is I think you actually made a very good reference, because I think that is the next pay-per-view for them coming up.
Guess what?
What's up?
That was completely by coincidence. Hell in a Cell. Ladder match.
Oh, you just kind of just parroting different kind of wrestle things that you kind of know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made 2 wrestlers in the new WWE game. Both of them are horrifying monsters that glow in a way that they should not. But we're not here to talk about that. Chopper, Robin, and Luffy fight. Chopper, Robin, and Luffy find Hogback and Sindri in the dance hall, and Chopper claims the right to fight Dr. Hogback before he directs Luffy to the freezer where he should find Gecko Moria. Hogback orders Sindri to protect him, so she starts throwing plates as Robin tries to stop her, and Chopper declares that he has lost all respect for Hogback, who in turn just calls Anupe and Jigoro to fight them. I like that we're getting Chopper a moment to shine. A Choppa fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Chopper doesn't have a lot of reasons to go into a fight, so being able to have those episodes before that just kind of like builds up this, you know, showing that Chopper knew about the Doctor before, kind of explaining the Doctor's mission, and then
Mm-hmm.
finding out like what really is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that it definitely like led it so well to when Chopper finally says enough.
Mm-hmm. In the rubble outside, Oars rises up in front of Usopp, Sanji, Zoro, and Frankie, but then he just puts a giant block on his head to make it look like a tricorn hat, like a pirate should wear, and then he wanders off without noticing them. Which is a great, oh no, we're going to have to fight this guy. He is way too big, and, he's off doing shenanigans. Unfortunately, after Oars playing around had broke the stairs in the bridge, the crew is demoralized because they have no way to get to the parts of the castle that they need until Frankie just builds a new bridge in a few seconds, which is a wonderful Frankie bit. I love that he has concerns about it not being perfect.
I love that too. I mean, just how extra he is with everything. Of course, he's going to be extra in everything that he builds. And of course,
He's going to be super with everything, Janine.
that's right. And not only that, but like, yeah, I guess his powers, like, is Minecraft.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like if he were in the real world, he would be the person who builds their own computers for fun. And also builds games on those computers. So, the group find their way into Perona's room where she is waiting for them, and when they try and run, they all get hit by negative hollows, so she sends the zombies to capture them, except that Usopp is able to purify some of the zombies because he's already so depressed that the hollows can't affect him, which in turn causes Perona to feel really sad for him. God, I love Usopp.
I think we just did the perfect casting, giving him the Millhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because that it just makes so much sense for both characters. I mean, especially right now for Usopp, like he's never been at his lowest. Like
Mm-hmm.
before, he just kind of like felt like he was riding on the coattails of everybody else, but like now, he had to like really humble himself and apologize to everyone, and they all had to hear it before he could go back with them. He's pretty fucking low. Like I'd be pretty fucking sad too, you know?
Yeah. So Usopp promises to fight Perona so the others can keep going, which the rest of them are more than happy to do before Usopp remembers that he wanted them to fight the zombies that she had with her. Perona then tries to hit Usopp with 4 negative hollows at once, but the hollows in Perona get depressed instead, which is great. Usopp purifies more of the zombies before Perona warns them to cover their mouths, and the zombies chase after him. Meanwhile, Ryuma and Brook continue their fight, with Ryuma still overpowering Brook. Ryuma uses Brook's Notch Slash, which upsets Brook because he remembers how he learned that move from a friend. Ryuma then taunts Brook to take him down if he is a fake, and Brook rises to fight again. The two swordsmen walk past each other, each using the same move, but Ryuma's attack drops Brook. As he moves in to cut off Brook's afro, he is interrupted by Oars climbing the tower, and then Frankie and Zoro run in to find them. Zoro steps in to fight Ryuma, because he's like, oh, hey, yeah, I recognize you from that legend of the samurai who fought a dragon. Good job, Zoro, stepping in.
You
Sanji,
know,
meanwhile.
like
Mhm,
I've seen a lot of, well, not a lot, just a very good amount of 1980s Japanese women's wrestling,
mhm,
and I've seen a lot of hair versus hair matches where at the very end of it these girls are bloodied up from like even the fucking scissors and just like shearing off like each other's hair. It's
mhm.
it's fucking badass, and I feel like Oda definitely is like a big wrestling fan, especially like being putting Suzuki in there to have that same kind of feel like inside of like just seeing that like hair and just like just about to cut into it like
Mhm.
that. It just,
Oda loves wrestling.
yeah, it is. One Piece is secretly wrestling. Like, oh my
Everything is
god.
secretly wrestling.
You know, that might be true.
So, Sanji continues his rush to the chapel where Absalom is preparing to kiss Nami, but he gets interrupted when Oars plays with a massive chain on the building. Absalom sends the zombie generals out to stop Oars, who then jumps into the air and smashes them with a Gum Gum esque Gatling, defeating all of them. And then Absalom just hears the news that all of the zombie generals got defeated. I appreciate that. It kind of sets up, oh, here's how these pieces are going to fall. And then Oars is a big wrench in the gears.
Yeah, it does feel like you're not going to be able to control Luffy's shadow as much as you're going to be able to control Luffy.
Hmm. And so that means anything can happen, and you can suddenly have plans completely derailed. It's very much a this is good D&D shit.
Yeah.
Zoro is able to stop Ryuma's attack, and Brook gives Zoro his permission to return his shadow for him. Zoro is really more interested in Ryuma's sword, the Black Sword Shishui. Luffy finally reaches Moria in the freezer, who explains that the only way that the shadows will return is if Moria orders it. Luffy tries to attack Moria, and Moria just blocks Luffy with his shadow. Doppelman!
I love
Moria's.
Doppelman.
Me too. Moria's new approach to piracy since his defeat is to have really strong underlings to handle everything, which is honestly like how I love to play a lot of RPGs. Yes, I'll be the person who just summons a bunch of minions and then I would just like ping people from the back because my ranged attack isn't that high, but I don't want to risk my body. That or poison.
Poison
Hmm.
rules, honestly.
Yeah. And guess what, Janine?
What's that?
Dun, 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 dun. Rawr.
It's a sexy poison watch.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So Moria also reveals that with enough time, Luffy's personality is going to fade from Oars and then he'll be obedient. He isn't concerned. Luffy tries to use a Gum Gum Gatling to get past all of the Doppelman, but then Doppelman turns into a bunch of bats that block the punches and then chase after Luffy. He does get one hit in, but Moria is really unconcerned. Like, Moria is such an interesting character. In
There's a
that
lot
he,
going on in that design. I'll say that.
mhm. Like, he is very Nightmare Before Christmas.
I can see that. I could also see God.
Goth punk.
Yeah, like fucking I'm sorry. I
My mind
had
wants.
I had some marijuana and it was better than normal. I shouldn't like just keep on saying how much I get high like on this podcast. Eventually somebody's going to find it and just be like, "Oh, hey, I know that person from work."
Wait, I always get those two mixed up. I was going to say kind of like Atom Ant, but then I looked up Atom Atom Ant, and I get those two mixed up. But yeah,
What were we
like
talking about?
Moria's design, how he's very goth punky.
Yes.
He's also a big ol' onion.
It's a weird shape.
hmm
I'm feeling bowling pin, but
Yeah, I can see that. Abogine. Usopp, meanwhile, is getting chased by the zombies, and he fakes being injured, but then shoots pepper stars, first to get them sneezing, and then salt stars to purify more of the zombies. The remaining zombies attack, and he tries to hit them with a flamebird star, but misses, until it turns out that he actually burned down the chandelier, which sets those zombies on fire. He tries to shoot Perona, but Kumashi allows Perona to run away, and so the three run through the halls with Perona in the front, followed by Usopp, followed by Kumashi. Oars. And I do love Kumashi as this weird, big old, very strong bee. Like, it's very much Beware from Pokemon.
yeah, it does definitely feel like that, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oars makes his way to the shore of the island, causing more damage all along the way. He jumps into the water, causing massive tides to roll in, but then he swims back to shore, where Hildon warns him about the dangers of salt water, because if I remember correctly, that was a non-canonical scene that they just added in, and then they had to be like, yes, and you didn't get enough seawater in there to purify you, thank goodness. In a very, oh yeah, we didn't think about that. Sanji rushes into the chapel and saves Nami, but keeps getting distracted by her beauty along with Absalom until he attacks Sanji with his special attack. Absalom assumes that Sanji's shadow ended up in Anupe because he is so weak that he didn't even have a poster. And so Absalom offers to let Sanji run away without his shadow. That way Absalom can marry Nami in peace by kissing her. But instead Sanji smashes him and even stops Absalom's secret attack. Sanji finds Absalom when he tries to go invisible to get away, and reveals that they have a secret history together. Did you have any theories on what their secret history was before they explained it, Janine?
No.
Fair. It turns out that Sanji knows that Absalom has invisible guns on his hand, which then Sanji disarms because he knows everything about the clear fruit, the only devil fruit that Sanji wanted in his life, mainly so he could go and look at women. And yeah, Sanji, welcome to getting canceled, bro.
Everybody's bad here. This is a really icky kind of fucking yeah.
It's both these dudes suck, but we're going to be around Sanji a lot longer. Like, there have been who is the biggest pervert One Piece polls, and it's like Sanji appears above Absalom because Sanji is around a lot longer than Absalom is.
So Sanji is going to get worse than this. I hope he also does get, in combination with that, better than this too.
Sanji is going to have a dark night of the soul that I like to attribute to an editor came on and was like, hey, I think this is really funny. And then as soon as that editor leaves One Piece, those jokes stop, and we also get a full Sanji redemption.
Huh.
But yeah, it's going to be sometimes. So Absalom then reveals his enhanced body, but Sanji is unconcerned. Sanji grabs Nami to protect her, and Absalom turns invisible so that way he can attack him while Sanji can't fight back. But eventually, Sanji puts Nami down, decides he's fine without the devil fruit, and then he grabs Absalom, releases a fury of kicks, and that seemingly defeats him. As Kumashi continues to chase Usopp, he eventually stops him with a line of fire, Usopp then strangely sees Perona flying outside the castle in the air, and she declares that she has a way to beat him. Usopp is suspicious of her confidence, and then she suddenly vanishes and reappears as a giant, and then starts flying around while she's unaffected by his attacks. She then phases through his chest and threatens to crush his heart, but it turns out she's just like a ghost in her current form, which scares Usopp because he can't be horny about it. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. She's very cute. But like, come on, man. You're fighting for your life.
Are you saying you're fighting for your life and you can't be horny about that, or why aren't you horny about that?
I don't know.
Usopp realizes that they can't attack each other before Perona reveals that she can also explode hollows, and then she keeps attacking him with those before Kumashi also catches up. In the chaos, Sniper King appears.
I love that she still has that button.
Janine, where is Sniper Island?
It's in your heart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sniper King appears to save Usopp, purifying Kumashi before he runs off, but not before he works on motivating Usopp and helping him to realize that something is up with Perona as more of the exploding ghosts hit him. He finds the room where Perona's actual body is and shoots a bomb, destroying the door. Perona goes to shoot her, Usopp goes to shoot her, but misses with the first hit. Perona then summons a massive hollow that eats him as Perona returns to her real body. Back in Hogback's ballroom, Robin restrains Jigoro, but he overpowers her arms while Inupe attacks Chopper. Chopper and Robin try to feed salt to Jigoro, but Inupe interrupts, attacking Robin because Sanji's personality has vanished, which is a great, action character moment.
Yeah, you know exactly the game has changed, and once that happened, I was like, oh no, things aren't going to be as simple as I had originally thought.
Uh-huh. Oars goes looking for his hat again and then goes to fire the ship's cannon, but as he's walking, his memories vanish and he remembers that he needs to serve Moria and heads back to the castle. Perona goes to explode the giant hollow on Usopp, but he catches it with an impact dial, and the actual shot that Usopp had hit Perona with really just sent sticky goo all over Perona's body. Hippo Gentleman shows up to attack Usopp, but he uses the impact dial on the zombie, defeating him, for he shoots a ball full of cockroaches at Perona, causing her to freak out. He then grabs his 10-ton hammer and smashes Perona with it, popping the balloon and knocking her out. God, I love an Usopp fight. Oh. So good, Janine.
It is. This was some bullshit all around. Through the entire fight, Perona is so fucking annoying, and that is still also kind of cute. I mean, but the fight. That's right.
It's Usopp getting to be his true self and proving how he is strong, and that is also helpful.
Yeah, being negative and fucking
creative and not giving up
and lying.
Meanwhile, in Hogback's lab, I was working in my lab late one night when I saw a most peculiar sight. Zoro regrets that he lacks a third sword to fight Ryuma with, but Ryuma is feeling excited about their fight, which destroys the lab, which also gets Zoro excited. Frankie pulls Brook out of the building as Zoro and Ryuma's fight moves through the ceiling onto the roof. Ryuma cuts the top off that building, and Zoro switches to a one-sword style with the two of them meeting in the air. Zoro's blazing attack hits Ryuma, catching him on fire, and as he falls to the ground, in those dying moments, Ryuma passes Shushui to Zoro, and Brook's shadow returns to him, and Brook celebrates.
And it's a really fucking good moment because not only does that sword look badass,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that Brook kind of gets his biggest thing out of the way. Like, he's got his shadow back. Now he can be able to go back to Laboon. By the way, when he said Laboon quietly, when he fell down earlier in the earlier episodes, I forgot to mention it. That did break my heart. That did legitimately break my heart.
Well, and I think the most important thing to remember about Brook now is he isn't alone. Like, that's how he won the fight. He had people who he could rely on who could do things that he couldn't. And that's the power of people who you care about working with you.
I'm glad to be working with you.
Me too. Meanwhile, Usopp celebrates his own victory until he has to hide when Perona's other zombies come to check on her. The zombie generals finally got back up and went to attack Oars following Absalom's old orders, and he almost destroys them before remembering his new orders, and he returns to the castle. And that is where we are stopping this week, because, well, next week we're going to have a big betrayal as things don't go as planned when it's time for an Oars fight, Janine. It's time for an Oars G.
Oh my god.
But since we have no new characters and we don't want this to be too short, are you ready for question time?
Hit me with them.
Question time, Janine, question time. I'm talking like an old man. It is question time. Tanner, aka Sparky Upstart, sent in 3 questions via Blue Sky. Would you recommend?
Awesome.
Would you recommend Simpsons to someone who's only ever seen 2.5 Simpsons episodes? The baby-proofing one, the one where Bart and Lisa make a cartoon, and the Halloween segment where Maggie is an alien. Tanner, that's not 2.5. That is 2.3, questionably, because each Treehouse of Horror typically has 3 segments. So, yeah, I don't know, because I can't recommend it to you if you get I think it's kind of hard to say. I mean, typically when I say people posting online where it's like, well, how do I get my wife or my partner or my boss or growlbacks into The Simpsons, Season 4 is typically a very strong starting point if you don't want to start back from Season 1. But I think the early seasons do a good job of illustrating where it came from and the roots. No one I've ever seen has been like, oh, you have to go back to the Tracy Ullman shorts. But I'd say if you don't want to start back at the very beginning, Season 4. Janine, how about you?
I would say that The Simpsons are a very good series for you to jump in the middle and then just jump around. I think I want to say season 9, but that's kind of like the season like I know the most because it was new when I was first watching it. So I think that that would be my bias. But to be honest, find the episodes that I like because I have good taste. Just watch season 9 and then just jump around to whatever your favorite number is, knowing that sometimes you'll see characters that got introduced in earlier seasons, and basically you'll still know exactly everything about the character in the first few seconds that they show up on screen anyway. Like The Simpsons does a very good job of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not until like I want to say season when we start getting into like the mid-teens that there's gonna be Simpson episodes that like require previous Simpson knowledge, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's like Sideshow Bob continuity, but a lot of that is explained as much context as you need. The next question that we have from them is, if Simpsons is One Piece, what's Futurama?
Dragon Ball Z?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there was that time that it like went away and then it came back.
What? But that's not how Dragon Ball Z works, though, because there was Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z and then GT, which is now pretty much completely non-canonical, except I think they might have brought some things in, and then Super, and then there was the series that they worked when Toriyama died. Rest in peace, Toriyama. Um, I mean, what made Simpsons and One Piece work is they are both long-running shows, and I don't think there has been an anime that has been canceled as many times as like Futurama has been and then brought back as like this is the same series and the same continuity. Maybe
A series that just has like several different parts and just got like released different times like a Madoka. But then again, like all of the add-in stuff is just movies and a mobile game. So don't quote me on that. There is a better fit, and there's two ways to go about it. And one that is like looking at exactly the runtime and different kind of runtimes and space between them of Futurama and trying to get the perfect match. Or because everything that we're watching is through the magic of just free watching it, you could just try to find things that just have like similar episode count. Like this is a very hard question because I feel like this is the exact kind of bullshit that Luke and I would spend like a lot of time just like figuring out the best system.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking for something that most represents Futurama, we're going to be looking at something that has gone through multiple iterations, but those have all been part of a similar continuity, but I don't know of anything that quite exists. If we're going to be looking at it from a storytelling perspective, we want something from the like early 2000s. And you know what I'm going to say? Janine, would you like me to make a wild pronouncement that I don't know anything about?
Sure.
What is... Yeah. Futurama is Rave Master. That's canonical now. I know next to nothing about Rave Master, but that's what I'm declaring. It seems to fit.
Okay, wow.
That's why this episode is titled Futurama is Rave Master.
That's a very powerful called shot. Listen, I'm going to agree that can be the episode title, but I'm also going to say right now that I do not agree with the statement.
Okay. What would Luffy do for a Klondike bar is their third question. I I feel like Luffy would be less inclined to do something for a Klondike bar than Chopper necessarily would. Chopper is the one who likes sweets. Luffy will eat candy, but he is not compelled to do things. Chopper would cure most of your physical ailments for a Klondike bar.
I think that Luffy would take a Klondike bar from a child,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that Luffy would do much to just earn a Klondike bar
Mm-hmm.
through a good deed.
Fair. All right.
It's not really what would you do for a Klondike bar, but how far will you go for a Klondike bar?
Mm-hmm. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Except it saw.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'm
I,
sure
I
he sounds like that.
yeah, I haven't actually watched a Saw movie. We then have a question from Reverse Eye Patch that they sent in a few months ago that we just didn't get to yet, which is please invent a new devil fruit that you would like to see of each type Paramethea, Zoan, and Logia. Then make your fellow co hosts choose which of your fruits they would want to eat if they had to. And I feel like because this is going to require some level of explaining what the types are to Janine, we'll just both come up with one and then figure out what one we'd want to take. So Zoan is going to be the easiest type, Janine, because that's the animal ones.
Ah.
The Logia are the elemental ones. So like the flame fruit or the rumble fruit that Enel had.
Hmm.
And then Paramethea is kind of like anything else.
Okay.
Like the spring fruit or uh, it's been a long day and my mind is just struggling. Splithead's power. Foxy's power.
The slow?
Yeah.
Slow beam.
Hmm. So I guess if you could eat a fruit to turn you into sort of any animal, what fruit would you want it to turn you into? And then you also get the hybrid form, and your human form is affected to some degree.
I want to be. I think. Hmm. A dog fruit with a hyena specialty or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dog fruit model hyena. Yeah, that makes sense. And then what elemental power would you want to get? And these
Uh.
are the ones where you can completely turn your body into that element. So, like Smoker. And theoretically, you could probably just say, what if Smoker, but also just weed?
I would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
And then, what would be the just weird power that you'd want to have?
Let's see here. The first thing that came to my mind
Mhm.
was a bullshit power that just kind of made it so that you would. What is it called in D&D when you move around something but don't? give an opportunity attack.
Oh yeah, when you yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's not
Yeah.
pivot. It's something else.
No, D&D. Uh not you don't mean yeah, it's not disengaging.
It's not disengaging.
Mhm.
You're just moving around the thing
Mhm.
using adjacent squares.
Mhm.
There's a word for it.
Yeah, I haven't played D&D in like 2 years, so it is out of my mind, unfortunately. But I'm sure some of you nerds will be more than happy to tell us.
You could be screaming it right now. Please stop. You're in public.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I think that the fruit power that I would have would be basically just doing that, where it would give me the ability to, if I am directly in front of somebody, move my body like around them so that like I am like so that our backs are facing. It's a
Mhm.
very small thing, but if you can be able to catch somebody off guard by doing it once, you can get like an easy hit, and like if they are prepared for it, then um you fucking toast, because that's all it gives you. But in that special circumstances, you know,
Mhm.
it works very well. If somebody's mad at you, oh, you're already walking away from them.
Mhm.
As long as they face forward to you, when they try to attack you, you can always make it so that neither of you are looking at each other afterwards. Unless they strike from a distance. Then you're also fucked.
I'm going to say this not as a critical thing, but just as a commentary thing. That is a lot more of a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure power.
I've no reference, but I just wanted to come up with something that was just like
Probably
stupid,
doesn't exist.
but like
Yeah.
probably didn't exist, is stupid, and can be really useful in a specific scenario that you can be able to set up for. Because I think that that's a lot of One Piece villains. Like they have very weird specific powers that they bullshit because they could be able to find a specific scenario where everything's about that power.
Hmm. Yeah, I was honestly thinking you were going to be like, oh yeah, I would love to just be able to shoot hormones with my finger or whatever.
If I did that, I'd be shooting it at other people.
Fair. All right. King Atticus asked, Butterfinger had Bart as a mascot in the 90s. What popular candy would you expect Luffy to be a mascot for? Um,
Gum.
yeah, I feel like gum is the
Like if you
kind
want
of
to have
lazy.
like a good like stretchy thing, like you could maybe go taffy too.
Mhm.
But basically like you gotta
Wrigley's
have
Luffy fruit.
like you gotta show that you know the stretchy. If you have a boy that's gonna be stretchy, you're not gonna have like a crunchy thing in it.
Hmm.
You're not gonna have a chocolate bar.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like gum makes a lot of sense. I'd go juicy fruit as like one of the big gums. They need to mix things up. I'm going to
Yeah.
bring this into the Wrigley's meeting that I'm heading to tomorrow. Listen, all you old pieces of shit. Have you heard of One Piece? Do you want to spend millions of dollars getting a promotional deal for Luffy? No, I didn't say Lufa. I'm fu- No, I don't actually work here. I broke in. Your security is very bad. King Atticus also wants to know what sort of pets could you envision the Straw Hats having? I feel like Luffy is going to just cow some large animal into being his pet.
It's very very easy to happen. I could definitely see a Stampy scenario going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I could also like just as easy see the crew getting around an animal, and I guess that technically is Chopper, but Chopper also talks and is also a person. I think
Mm-hmm.
a dog would definitely all around work for the entire crew. Um, but I also
Birds.
think, yeah, I also think that there's a good amount of wildlife that could just like hang out inside of like those tangerine trees, and like you just forget about them until the
Mm-hmm.
quiet moments between arcs.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah, I think
monkey.
it makes sense. A monkey's an awful lot of trouble, Janine, just like a Monkey D. Luffy. Wombat, who I hung out with when I visited the Big Apple, wants to know how do you think the One Piece characters would react to meeting the Simpsons characters you cast for them? I feel like they probably would not get along.
I don't think so either, but I think, for the main cast, I think that there could be um the only two that I could see getting along is Zoro and Nelson.
Well, Nami and Lisa would get along.
I mean, you'd say that, but like Nami is definitely more morally compromised.
Nami is compassionate to kids, and I think that Lisa could be kind of understanding of like the okay, yeah, no, this is a different world, but you are also very smart and intelligent, and you're kind of making your own thing for yourself. Um, yeah, I don't think Bart and Luffy would do well together.
Uh Usopp and Milhouse would spend the entire time trying to convince the other one that they are cooler than they actually are.
But I think they would bond over that because like Usopp is actually cool.
And Milhouse has been known to be able to share moments with other kinds of Milhouse.
Hmm. Chopper would be horrified by Poochie.
Yeah, I don't think that Poochie's going to have like that much of opinions of everyone because it's all about Poochie when Poochie's in the house.
Hmm. Sanji and Jimbo would not get along.
They would hate each other. But
Hmm.
also, if you showed Sanji another Sanji, he would hate him.
Oh
So,
yeah, they're like asshole cats.
like,
You
I
can't.
think these two, like, if any of them get into a fight, it would be these two, like, the first ones.
I do think that Robin and Miss Krabappel could get along. Like they do have some similar interests. I think that they could at least talk things out and kind of deal with the yeah, no, it's rough having to teach. Oh, imagine having to live with these people on a ship the entire time. And then Armin and Frankie would not get along.
No, no, no. Like, even
Brooke and
as cool as Armin Tanzarian was pre, you
Mhm.
know, becoming Skinner,
My God, that man's a weapon of war, and he's half naked.
ah, my god. Yeah.
Maybe Brooke and Mel would get along well together.
I think that they would.
Hmm.
I think they would have an appreciation for each other's craft.
Hmm.
I think they would do a duet.
And it would be nice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. And then last is Reverse Eye Patch with one more. We all know Frankie is trans, but when is Sanji going to nut up and get on estrogen? I I buy Sanji more as a trans male than a trans woman.
I can see that. I think that there is definitely I mean I know I've known a few horny trans guys in my day. So I could be able to attest to that kind of different reverence and love and adoration and simping for women. Um, but I could also say that, I mean, the thing about it is that Sanji, if you're going from the angle of he's very into these women because that's what he wants for himself,
Hmm.
like, I don't think that really, for me, holds up very well
Yeah.
with how much he definitely does take care of himself. I mean, it's just personal experience. Like I did personally at a point wear a suit like Sanji. Just
Hmm.
figured just got to make myself look professional every now and then. I was an idiot, but looking back at it now, I hated it, and
Hmm.
I just hate suits in general. It was just the most effeminate thing that I could be able to put on in 2009.
Fascinating.
I kind of went somewhere on that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is all the questions we have currently. So initially, I thought that next week we'll have another episode where we'll have at least characters to rank, but we don't. So if you want to send in more questions, we also don't have Simpsons episodes next week as someone betrays the party.
Oh no.
Janine, where can you be found online?
You could find me by checking out the word Janine Juliet on Twitter and Blue Sky. Also on Instagram, Janine is dope, and you can also find another podcast I do, Wrestle Girlies. We haven't updated because I kind of fell apart for a little while, but that should be coming back up online soon. Um, but what about you, Luke? Where do they find you?
You can find me on Discord at Coltred KOLTREG. Like, if you just reach out, you can probably find me on there. I am also on Blue Sky. I am on Reddit, and I'm looking for job opportunities for things that offer me more creative opportunities to do things like this, but also make money. If you do want to help me make money doing stuff like this, there is a Patreon that I don't really push, but you get the episodes early and you'll get to see other stuff that I have coming out before it comes out. So, we also need to shout out our current artist for the show, Mike Patton, who you can find online most places at Patton Pending. That's PATTENPENDING. And DohMance Dawn updates every other week. You can find our website at DohManceDawn.com. We also have a Facebook that we don't really use because no one really interacts with it, a Blue Sky, and we have our Discord, which is a place where almost everybody left their questions for us to answer. That wraps us up for this week. If you know someone who is familiar with The Simpsons, but has never watched One Piece or gave up One Piece very quickly, and who also has some sort of show that they would be interested to promote, they could potentially be a guest on here. Have them reach out to us on Blue Sky is honestly the easiest way, or DohManceDawn@gmail.com is an email that I have. And that is going to wrap us up for this week. I hope that all of you stay safe and healthy, and that your sailing is smooth. Catch you next week. Peace.